Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most fundamental and, let's be honest, one of the most feared JavaScript interview questions out there. But by the end of this, you won't just know the answer, you're going to understand it like deep in your bones.
So picture this. You're in an interview. Everything's going great, and then this question drops. It's famous for tripping up even experienced developers. Why? Well, because it gets right to the very heart of how JavaScript actually works. And spoiler alert, it's probably not what you think.
All right, the very first step to getting this right is to kind of forget what you might know about inheritance from other languages like Java or C++. JavaScript just plays by a totally different set of rules.
And this right here, this is the big secret, the main idea you have to get from the get-go. See, in a lot of other languages, inheritance is like making a photocopy of a blueprint. You get a whole new copy. But in JavaScript, we don't copy anything. We create a live link between objects, and that changes everything.
So, what's the official definition? The prototype chain is just the mechanism JavaScript uses for this linking. When you try to use a property on an object and it's not actually on that object, JavaScript doesn't just error out. Nope. It follows that link, it goes up the chain to another object, and checks there. And it'll keep doing that until it either finds what it's looking for or it runs out of links to follow. Okay, let's really nail this down with a super simple but really powerful analogy. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this idea of delegation.
This is literally what an object in JavaScript is doing. If you ask an object, hey, do you have the toString method, and it doesn't have it sitting right there, it basically says, I'm not sure. Hold on, let me ask my parent. It delegates the question up the chain. It's like a chain of command, a search party that moves upwards.
And here we go. This is it. This is the spot where most people get all tangled up. But trust me, if you can confidently explain the difference between these two things, you're going to look like an absolute rock star in that interview.
I'm not kidding. This isn't just some random piece of trivia. Understanding this difference is the key that unlocks the whole thing. It shows you don't just know the definition you memorized, it shows you actually get how the engine is working under the hood.
Okay, look at this breakdown. It's so important. On one side, you have prototype. This thing only exists on functions that are used as constructors. Think of it as the architectural blueprint. It's an object that says, hey, any new objects made from me should use this object as their parent. Then you have _prototype. This little guy lives on the actual object instance that you created. It is the real physical link that points back to that blueprint. So one is the plan, and the other is the actual connection.
All right, theory is great and all, but let's make this totally real. We're going to follow the JavaScript engine step by step as it goes on a hunt for a property.
So let's just imagine we've got a simple animal constructor function. We use it to create a new dog object, and we've put a speak method on the animal's prototype, not on the dog itself.
So what happens when we write dog.speak? Well, first, JavaScript looks right at the dog object itself. Is speak right there? Nope, not there. So the engine says, okay, no problem, time to ask the parent. It follows that __proto link, which, remember, points to animal.prototype. It checks that object. Is speak in there? Yes, it is. The search is over, the function runs. Easy.
But what about a method we see everywhere, like toString? The journey is a little bit longer. First, it checks the dog object. No toString here. Okay. Follow the __proto link to animal.prototype. Did we define toString there? Nope. But the engine doesn't stop. It follows the next __proto link up from animal.prototype, which leads to the granddaddy of all objects, object.prototype. And guess what's hiding there? toString. Found it.
And this diagram just lays it all out beautifully. Every single prototype chain in JavaScript goes on this upward journey, eventually reaching that base object, object.prototype. And what's after that? Well, that's the end of the line. The __proto of object.prototype points to null. It's a dead end. If the property still hasn't been found, only then does JavaScript give up and return undefined.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a lot. Why did the creators of JavaScript build it this way? It seems kind of complicated, right? Well, there's a really good reason for all of this: memory efficiency. Just look at this comparison. It says it all. If you define your methods inside the constructor using this, every single time you create a new object, you are creating a brand new copy of that function in memory. That's incredibly wasteful. But on the right, when you put the method on the .prototype instead, you only create it one time. Every single instance then just links back to that one single shared function.
And this slide just drives the point home. If you make 1,000 animal objects, the bad way creates 1,000 separate speak functions in memory. The prototype way, it creates just one. All 1,000 objects share that single function. That is a gigantic difference in performance, and it is the entire reason the prototype chain even exists. It's brilliant.
Okay, let's bring it all home. How do we wrap all this knowledge up into the perfect, concise answer that you can deliver with total confidence in your next interview?
Here it is, your 5-point knockout punch. Start with a simple definition. It's how objects inherit things from each other in JavaScript. Then, explain the lookup. JS looks at the object, then up its prototype chain. Mention the linkage. This link is an internal property, technically called triple prototype. Then explain the termination. The chain ends when it hits null. And finally, and this is the most important part, you hit them with the why. The huge benefit is memory efficiency. That's it. You've just aced the question.
So there you have it. It's not about copying blueprints at all. It's a living, breathing system of delegation and linking. So the final question is for you to think about. Now that you really understand this core principle of JavaScript, how is it going to change the way you write your code to be more elegant and way more efficient? Thanks for tuning in.